a question. So can the people that you're interviewing throw a question at y'all for a conversation before we go?
Absolutely.
Okay, because this has been a topic I've been noticing. Don't edit this out, because it's been a topic. I've been seeing on a lot of podcasts.
Man. It's probably
TikTok, whatever.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so young married couples, blah blah blah. The new thing is submitting. What is your opinion on both of you? I want both opinions on that topic as far as how a wife should submit to the husband. Do you agree with that? Why? What's your perspective on it and that kind of
thing? Ladies first.
My perspective.
Rabbit got a gun.
My perspective is that biblically the husband should lead the household, right? But I also have to trust in that you can lead me, right? Guide me, and you're going to make the appropriate decisions for our family. And as long as I can trust that, then I'm all the way behind you, right? Like, these are things that a great example for us is we don't typically have too many arguments. Before we were married, we went through a rough patch, and I think that's where our learning came in, really. So by the time we got married, we had already settled the dust, right? But God had told him something specific that I did not agree with, and logically could not wrap my head around it. And we had several debates back and forth, right? Like, I'm not doing this. This is crazy.
If you don't mind asking, what was that? If it's too personal?
No, it ain't personal. Yeah.
So God had told Sean to go buy this vehicle, right? And I'm like, no, it costs way too much. We are at the end of our debt-free journey. This logically does not make any sense. God didn't tell you that, right? He didn't tell me that.
That's Facebook. That's Facebook. That's Instagram.
Right. And so, we're going back and forth, right? We go to the dealership. I'm like, fine, we go to the dealership. Let's look at this car, right? Let's see how much the car costs. We go there. The guy says, do you want to see if you're approved for the car? Now, I know in my mind we're going to get approved. So he goes through it. We get approved.
We didn't do it with them, though.
Right. We did it online. Sorry. We did it online. And you know how typically it takes like a couple hours or days to do it. That thing was approved in like 2.5. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was like, this is insane. Okay. So we're still having this. Like, I don't agree. I'm not on board. I am not. Right. Still, I'm trusting that God has told him this, but I'm like, man, God about to come through with some money, right? We're not gonna have to pay it.
Listen, let me give you a little tidbit of information, some time frame. So it was basically like this time 3 years ago when this all happened. Like, we went to the dealership, the guy gave us what the cost of it. They didn't have the exact vehicle there. Like, they had to build it.
You had to build this thing.
Yeah,
it was expensive.
So we sitting in the car that looks like it. It just didn't have the third row there. So he says the price, and usually when you hear a specific price about something, you like, like
you react. You got a reaction.
Didn't bat an eye at it. So
rich.
My heart is like,
it's. We even went to our pastor, just to like, okay, help us out. We're on this, this plan of, okay, we're doing A, B, C. This is how he's supposed to do. But then he brought back to our remembrance, sometimes, like you mentioned earlier, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. So he said, sometimes God will have you start at, okay, we'll start here at P, and then you can go to B, back to B. It's like, wait, it does not make sense. So we got that iron out. Now that's when we go and get the approval and stuff. Because at first we were like, okay, God, we're gonna, it's the
you're gonna come through with with this money.
Absolutely.
We gonna,
Yeah,
we ain't
yeah,
got no car note. This is gonna be good. Like, I'm like, this is gonna happen.
My man told us. Now this happened this month 3 years ago. He said, "Oh, the car will be ready probably around the end of March, April." So in our head, like, okay, God,
Right.
come through.
That's
Yeah,
a
time
big
to come
check.
through. What they
We
building?
even
You got a 6-month clock.
Yeah, we
dude.
got
What's
You know what I'm
that?
saying? This how we put limits on a limitless God. It's
Yeah, we do that. We
dumb.
do that.
so dumb of us to do that. So he gave us the gave us a time frame of that March and April that like, okay, the car be there again. We was like, all right, that money gonna be there. We go and get approved. Even before we get approved, like, hey God, hey, kind of like when Jesus was praying, like, hey, if there's any way this cup can pass from me, please.
We don't want it.
We take
We
the
can
cup,
get
but
car.
you
Yeah.
got two.
I'm good with it.
We can get two brand new ones.
Right.
But not my will, but yours. So that's how we approach that. So here it is. We fast forward a few months. January.
Car's ready.
I didn't even know this was a call. I said, hey, Mr. Jackson, how's it going? I said, hey, man, doing pretty good. Got some good news for you.
Not good news. Not to me anyway.
Said that he said the car be here next week. We were like,
I'm checking the bank account, y'all. Ain't nothing in there.
that whole
Lord, they make his deposit yet. His deposit ain't come yet.
whole
It ain't
amount.
cleared. It ain't cleared.
So that's when we had to, as they would say, piss or get off the pot per se. And that's
But
when
wait, well, I told him, well, you go now. For us, our finances are combined, right? We do everything together, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, well, you pay for it. I'm not paying for that for that car, which is insane because our money is in the same pot.
Same
So
money,
at the
same
end of the
pot.
day, I was paying for the car.
Mhm.
But I was so angry. And then I was like, listen, if this is your husband and you trust that he's going to lead the household, right? And he hasn't steered you wrong thus far, and he's a man of God, and he said that he heard God, I need to trust that. And so I was like, this is my test of faith, whether or not I'm going to step out on faith and walk this thing through and trust that he heard from God, even though I didn't. And it worked out, right? Like, I was like, let's do it, whatever. Do I say in the months while we had this car, every month, I'm like, this dang car, no, I'm pissed off. So did it happen overnight? And was I like all happy and like, oh, okay, I'm at peace? No. But when I tell you God showed out,
Oh man.
I mean, he showed out. Like, it was what he said it was, right? Like, I need you to do this for a reason for me. It ain't about y'all.
Yep.
Anytime,
anytime anybody say anything about that vehicle, I say, hey, this is all God. Strictly all God. And one important factors that I'm leaving out, we've had conversation with you guys before when we talked about Dave Ramsey, right? Going that debt snowball and all that stuff. We was on that path. So during this time, I'm talking about, I heard it clear as day, because we've had the conversation about, we're trying to get out of debt, this and that, it don't make sense. And it's clear as day. God was like, is Dave Ramsey your God? From that point on, I shut up, for the conversation. That was just because he's not. Now I appreciate the discipline that he set forth for us to go. That's been going on since like 2016. So it has been working out perfect and stuff for us. But when that happened, oh brother, that was it. All right, let's move forward. That solidified that we need to go forward. And like she was saying, when he showed out, and this was in 21, so we wasn't expecting any. Pandemic was still going on, so we wasn't expecting any raises. We actually end up on promotions, none of that stuff. We end up on IRS. Now, tidbit information that if we had known that we was going to owe the IRS, that car wouldn't be here.
Man, but somebody will say that those are first world problems, bro. Once you start owing the government, that means you're making money.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You making the money.
Don't count my pockets. But anyway,
that's a good problem.
It's a good problem to have, man. We've been there.
but
Done that.
it was some other stuff that tied into it. We're like, how in the world did we do this? But either way, so that grip of money that that went out because we at that time it was a stimulus that came in. As soon as that thing came in, it went right back out. They're going to pay them, but we probably wouldn't have got the car. Much later on in the year, like I said, we got raises that we wasn't expecting, a good sizable raise, and I'm like, oh, all right, well, this is what happens when you're obedient.
I will say that it rained down blessings, and the blessings are still coming.
Yeah,
because of faith. We just stepped out on faith and did what he said.
I'm gonna hold my cup right here. Y'all can see. Go and sprinkle some blessings and let it rain on me.
Take it.
No, hey, but that's amazing, guys. That really is amazing. And for the record, I will publicly state that we appreciate you all for introducing us to Dave Ramsey and all those financially free. I remember that, dude. That started us on our journey, man. So we,
it changes your mindset.
It does. Like we were never hurting, right? Like we was always making money. Spending for no reason.
But it gives you a different outlook, right?
Yeah, and then you're like,
we're supposed to live this life.
And you become intentional on the way you're attacking your debt. And we never had a lot of debt, but we did have debt.
We did have something.
When you become intentional on attacking that, oh my goodness, dude! You do it
good, right?
And it feels good. And then once you're
freedom,
you don't even know how to act.
And then it becomes like almost like a competition. Like, let's see how fast you can pay this one off. And next thing you know, you're enjoying the money that you make. Man, I'm telling you, anybody that listens to this, all the millions of people that are gonna listen to this podcast, dude. See, I spoke that into
I
appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah.
Dude, if you do that, the rewards that you will reap on the back end are just going to be ridiculous. So from us to you all, from the Potters to the Jacksons, thank you for that, because we would have continued. I think crazy. Making the same, monotonous decisions that we were doing on a day-to-day basis until you all
it gave us a good
focused us
framework.
It's
like when you have a lot of money coming in, you most people tend to have a lot of money going out. That's like they say, the more you make, the more you spend. It's like this vicious cycle until you get to that point you realize, like, okay, this is like if you sit back and you look at 1 year and you're like, dang, look how much money we spend eating out. Look how much money we spend on like just, these kind of little things. And we started adding it up and then looking at it and actually looking at it like, and if we had took that money and invested it or did this, and then we're like,
1 year I was like really, really serious about like filing an identity claim. Cause I'm like, bro, somebody else is getting paid my money. Like, they say they pay me this, but where's that?
Every time you look at the bank account,
I don't see it. Like somebody's stealing my money, bro. Like IRS, I need y'all to get hot and find out who the hell is.
How they would have told you, sir, if you don't mind stepping into your bathroom and look at this one reflective.
That's who it is.
It can't be that guy. But that's realistically. I mean that, and I think a lot of people have that issue, right? Like if you methodically track how you're spending your money, where every dollar is going down to that nitpicky detail, you'll be surprised how many frivolous, wasteless expenditures you have, and how you can cut that back on just small incremental changes in your daily spending can have a big ridiculous impact when it comes down to the grand scheme of things.
It just feels different.
Yeah. To go back to the original question on my perspective of it, I love God and I love myself, and I'm supposed to love my wife as I love myself, as I follow Christ in that. So it's easy, I guess, to do that because I have, like, I once this other episode comes out, I have a servant's heart, and she has a servant's heart. It ain't about me. I want to make sure, my wife's good, because we're one. Because if she's hurting, guess who else is hurting? Me, and vice versa. So it is my duty to make sure that she's good, my family's good, and that we continue to balance this thing out. Not that I should love on her way more or she should love on me way more. It's like load balancing, man. it fluctuates. It shouldn't have to, stay here like that. So some days it could be I have to do more and or she has to do more. But either way, it's fluctuating all the time. But no one feels like a heavy burden to that. So in the way that I submit is because it's all due to love. Like you mentioned earlier, love is patient, love is kind. It doesn't brag or boast or anything like that. It's just making sure that I'm giving my all to her. I'm being selfless to be with, to provide for her.
And I think if both of y'all do that, you win in the end, right? Because he's giving to me, I'm giving to him. So our cup is full either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amen.
I like that answer. Yes, thank you.
Golf clap,
Yeah.
golf clap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope, man. We appreciate it. You got any more questions?
That was just
came
I
in
read.
quick.
I'm going to throw that one out there. So
Oh, that's
I
good.
appreciate
No, we
that.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Like I
No?
said,
Well,
I mean,
enjoy,
we're
y'all.
asking- Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, we're just
Now he said
asking
he wants to
questions.
ask
Like, what's the biggest challenge that you guys have faced since being married, even before marriage, right? Like, how did you know? Like, you know what?
that's the one.
He is it, or Rashawn is it, right? Like, there's a ton of options out there, right? But this is my guy, this is my gal, right? How did you know? And what was the
Let me start with that. So obviously the challenge, I think really in the sense, as far as in the marriage, I want to say maybe it was the decision of the car. Probably was
That was
at
probably
least
our
one of
roughest
the roughest one.
challenge.
Which is that now before we had a lot of people in our relationship, our
They
friend
had a lot of
circle. They had a lot of things to say, and if I had listened to certain individuals about it, this wouldn't have happened.
Mhm.
But when I tell you God truly ordained this relationship, and I saw past any type of whatever that anybody was saying, like any flaws or anything like that, because I can promise you this, if it had been anybody else, them dudes, I'm out. But the way I saw her, she was the way that God sees us as being sinless, truly sinless. Like she was in upstanding, no matter what the flesh may have been doing. I saw it far from the spirit side.
Spirit, yeah.
That it was, I was like, whatever's going on, this ain't you. I know the real you. Like it was a crazy connection, but we know what that connection was. So to have that, and I remember telling this individual, because I was previously engaged before and all that, and I told this individual, I'm like, I'm not going to lose out on this. This is my stuff didn't go right that first time. I'm not about to mess this up at all.
Yeah,
And
when you know, I know.
I'm telling you, I had dated prior to her, and basically my heart was I had built up a wall in a sense, like nobody really was getting through to that. And once her and I just started talking, we just had a conversation that night at a house party. She don't remember all the details. I don't remember all the details of it either, but we
It was
it was
in our backslidden stage.
Yeah, don't judge me.
We backslide. We backslide.
Yeah. Oh, boy, I'm telling you.
Backslide. Come back.
Moonwalking back
Never
that point. But we were sitting. I was sitting outside. She came outside, and we just had a conversation. It wasn't one of those things. So, hey, what you doing later? Type thing. It was just a normal conversation. I don't remember all the detail, but it wasn't one of those things where I'm trying to get in her pants, she's trying to get in mine. Type stuff. It was literally a beautiful conversation. Genuine. I'm talking about it just flowed, and this is with spirits involved type stuff. Like it kind of like that conversation. It was a sober conversation, like whatever that was going on, that kind of subsided. We had the conversation, then after conversation, it kind of, all right, you get back to doing whatever you were doing before. So I think outside of that, we had to learn to keep these individuals out of our relationship, no matter what their opinions are. we already were, in a sense, practicing what marriage should be, keeping other people out of your business like that, and
But
we
it was
keeping
a
it here.
hard
Oh
lesson.
yeah, oh man, rough.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, we gonna get to that. That's how I knew she was one.
For me, it was the friendship. So we met on a holiday weekend, right? So it's not like we got to spend a bunch of time with each other, but over the time, I went back to New York, we just talked every single day. And not even about important stuff. Like it was just random stuff, but it was every single day. And I remember when my friend at the time said, "Hey, why don't you move to Jacksonville?" I was like struggling in New York. And she's like, "Hey, I got space. Come move to Jacksonville. You don't have to pay nothing. Just come." And she even paid for me to like move all of my stuff to Jacksonville. And at the time, I was like, that sounds good. Like this life I'm living is a hot mess. I can't afford to live here. It sounds like a good plan, but I also told everybody I'm gonna go be closer to my husband. I just knew, had a feeling, right, from the conversations. And even like during the period of time where it was like a struggle and we talked and we stopped talking, back and forth. We still were connected, even when we weren't connected.
It was crazy. This
yeah,
unheard of.
Like a weird kind of.
We heard it. Believe me, we heard it.
Yeah, that was saying. It was just so crazy for other people that's listening. We weren't together. We were still, friends. We're still going to church together. I'm talking to another young lady, just trying to get to know her, and I'm not even gonna go into that. That was a hot mess. But just trying to get to know her, and it was like pulling teeth. And then she had a situation going on and stuff. So, but yet we were still going to church together, still trying to, just still communicate. Like no matter what happened, for the most part, we had to communicate. Like it was not. It was just ridiculous the way we were just connected spiritually with that. Like we just had to have conversation. Like we just had to talk, man. I remember we used to go sit at this park in Jacksonville and look at the St. Johns River, because it's a big river compared to what's out here. Y'all ain't been out here yet. This river is a stream.
It's a mess.
It's a stream. But we would sit there and just have conversations and talk about life, and it was one of the most beautiful things that we ever did, and we still have these beautiful conversations. We just minus the water.
Yeah,
that's dope. So you want some water? Run the bathtub. Yeah. That's dope, man. But just seeing you guys blossom, your relationship blossom, and you produced two wonderful, beautiful little girls, man. We're happy for y'all. Y'all
likewise for y'all, man.
Behind us and as far as the timeline journey, but hey, man, we're all on the same path, I think. And it's just happy seeing y'all flourish like this, man. Me and Rashawn, we day ones. Like when I say day one, I'm talking about day one.
Yeah.
Right? Literally the first person that spoke to me. So originally from Brooklyn, family moved down to Georgia when I was like 10, 11. And Rashawn was my first friend, and we've been tugging it out ever since.
Like fourth grade, I think.
Yeah.
Fourth grade. So you, 30, I would say, yeah,
30 some odd years ago, man. And yeah, there's no ambiguity when somebody asks who's your best friend. Rashawn Jackson, the first person I'll spit out. It's the first person I talked to, man. Helped me through some of the most difficult times in my life. And that's how you got a true friend, right? Is when they're there to tell you the things that you don't necessarily want to hear, things that you absolutely need to hear. Rashawn has always been that guy for me, man. So I love him.
Appreciate that. Love you too, brother.
It is what it is. Not trying to get sentimental, right? Not trying to podcast, but you're my guy, man. I'll be there, ride or die for you forever, man. And I know you'll be the same for me, man. I love you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
It is what it is, man. To see you happy.
I would say you're the I think my second tenured, like longest friend that I've known. The first one's Jackie.
Yeah.
Kindergarten. So that's
kindergarten.
Yeah. So that in itself is a true testament of, again, friendship. How long it lasts. It sometimes we don't talk every day. We obviously we can go sometimes months without even talking, but picks up just like it never ended and stuff. So
And the one thing we always say, like you said, regardless of how long it's been, is when we get off the phone, hey man, I love you. Right?
Exactly.
I don't know, no weird sense,
Yeah.
but it's like
no, it's real, and I
inwardly
normalize that too, man.
Yeah,
You gotta
you might-
normalize that.
you my dude, you my guy, you my brother. I'm sorry, we got a little crumb snatcher popped out of his room. Like,
He didn't say he wanted to make like his cameo appearance.
uh,
Like, can I be on the podcast?
got
I'm
a
like,
budding TikTok superhero over here. But realistically, man, real talk. I love y'all. Appreciate everything y'all doing. And it's always funny, right? Me and Sean had a conversation the other day where he was like, hey man, I brag on you all the time, the things that you've accomplished. And I'm like, dude, I brag on you, but not for the same reasons, right? It's like somebody that got out, like with no plan. He had an idea as to what it is that he wanted to accomplish. When I tell people, like, hey man, you gotta have a plan. Like, don't be like my boy Rashawn. Like, it worked out for Sean. The dog didn't have a
you have
plan.
a plan out when you get out.
Man, my dude signed up for online classes with no computer.
What?
My
I go to
dog
the library. I had to ask for
online college and was taking classes or
And you
you
said
know,
with no computer.
because he would go to the public library,
And you got
but
no
they had a
schedule.
limit, like 30
Oh,
minutes.
could be
Right?
on the computer.
Class, what college class only gives 30 minutes. So
Like,
Sean be like, hey, bro, I need to use the computer.
Yep.
We had dial-up internet, right? So it was unreliable, but my dog was consistent. He was loyal to his goal, and he was focused. He was driven. My dog didn't know where he was driving to, but he was driven.
Listen,
And he
somebody-
got it done. Dude.
Life like that.
Listen, I'm gonna make it all make sense here. I was telling someone this, and I've even heard like she's more organized. Even when it came to this, talking about the podcast, like, okay, what do we need to do? I kind of,
plan.
That's me.
We can see it. We know.
I can flow for the most part. I can flow. So even when it came to getting a job or anything like that, I don't even remember applying for it. So I can just relate it to the IT job that I have now. Now we were, just now kind of reconciling, getting back to kind of where we were, and it was still somewhat rough. So I'm looking for jobs on the East Coast. We talked about staying on the East Coast.
Mhm.
Mind you, there was nothing on the East Coast that was IT related. Now there was some security stuff,
Within height.
within height. Well, I ain't even say that.
Oh.
But anyway, within the job. It's on my profile. Anyway, so didn't see anything there. So there was two positions. Only this one popped. There was only one at first. There was one out in Guam. I was looking at that thing. It was just sitting there. I was looking at it. It looking at me. And it
I
was there.
like,
It was there for a long time. And I said, man, if I apply for this, I'm more than likely going to get it because it was sitting there. And I was going to be like, we're married at the time. So I was like, I'm going to take a military mindset to this.
Yeah.
And I go over there because at this point, I just wanted to get the experience. I was going to say, all right, I'll go there for 2 years or so and try to get my way back, stateside or whatever. But before we even got to that, a position opened up here in San Antonio, and the HR person was like, what you waiting on? Go ahead and apply for it. I was like, I just applied. I ain't even talked to her about it. Told her after the fact. And I told her about that. She's like, why would you do that and stuff? I don't even know if I'm gonna get the job.
Got the job.
Brother, I'm here now. But the way
ain't never been to Texas a day in his life.
Now,
You had
Ever,
never ever
I
been to
remember when
Texas.
Sean was telling me, bro, I got a job in Texas. Like,
You had no clue what you were going through.
what? Texas?
nope.
He's like,
But
You're a
No.
Georgia boy.
I'll take care of it.
yeah. So my non-plan has always been God's plan. And that's how it's been working out for me. Like I tried to go for the position that I'm in before, didn't get it. When I didn't try to go for it, got it.
There you go.
So
Hey, man, like I
anytime
said,
I try to plan out
God
something, it
bless.
don't work out well for the most part.
Tell them your plan. Tell
So
them your plan.
he has been directing my path. I think I remember a time in my life. I used to listen to this song called "Order My Steps," and that has truly been what God has been doing for me, ordering my steps. I may not, see the end goal right away, but I'm trusting, step by step, that He's going to get me to that end goal of it. So I am grateful for that. So yeah, I'll jump out there for the most part. This is what we're doing. All right, let's do it.
I hear you.
And I'm learning to submit.
And go with his lead.
That's it. That's what's up, man. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful
Well,
thing.
we appreciate this,
Yes,
man. It's
was
probably I know we're
fun.
gonna have to probably break this up in a couple parts and stuff, but
Hey,
Yeah,
man,
that's a good idea. Do it like
if
that.
you guys will have us, we would love to do this again. This is fun.
yeah,
Somebody was nervous. We're not gonna call Alicia's name, but
right.
I think she found her stride, right?
I've always tried to get him to do a podcast. I'm
At
like,
the
we should start a
12-minute
podcast.
mark,
He's like,
man.
I'm like, we should do a reality TV show. Remember, I've
said
thrown
it,
all
you
these
said
things
it.
out, but he never would agree. So
Mm-hmm.
This is
But-
beautiful, though, man.
But
I
it's
appreciate
fun.
it. Like I said, as soon as you mentioned it, it was like, oh yeah, absolutely, we're doing it. Nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
The end goal is really, to highlight beautiful marriages, right? Like you said, so many people are like quick to divorce, right? And there's so many couples out there that are making this thing work and they're happy in their marriage, and like, let's normalize that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I think that's our purpose, right? Is to show that.
Change the narrative.
Yes.
It takes work, but it
But
can work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, again, thank you for joining.
Yes.
Like, share, subscribe, however this, it's going to reach many platforms and stuff. So
Please.
if you got comments, please leave comments. We look forward to, answering any, questions, or if there's any topics that you want to hear about, please do. And you got anything else you want to add to that?
That's it. Just love y'all and appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
appreciate it. I'm
Y'all
going
have
to.
a good night.
Good.
Go get our little rugrats.
Yep.
Scrum snatchers. Y'all be good.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
What's up, podcast family? We just want to say thank you for tuning in, watching our episodes. We pray that what we are saying is a blessing to you. God placed it on our hearts to share with other married folks and soon to be married folks. So again, we just pray that it's blessing you.
And stay tuned for the next video. Again, we want to thank you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for supporting This Works For Us podcast.